Hey everyone, this is Kai, and welcome to this 7 Days to Die survival tutorial. When you're new to the game, simply surviving the first day and night can be quite tricky, but this tutorial should equip you with all the knowledge you need to survive your first 24 in-game hours. Let's jump in. Looking at all the stats can be a bit overwhelming at first, so the main things you need to worry about are your health bar, of course, your stamina bar, which will affect how much damage you'll do when you hit things and whether or not you can run, and your temperature. Getting too hot or too cold can have negative effects. More on that later. The food and water are important as well, but don't worry about them for now because they won't cause you any issues on day 1. The game gives you a quest chain to get started, and I highly recommend following it because it will help you gear up with some necessary items. You'll see what you need to do in the top right hand corner. For your first task, you need to make a stone axe. This will be your go-to tool for breaking and harvesting things. Whatever biome you've spawned in, finding grass to punch for plant fibres won't be a problem. To gather wood, you can either punch bushes, which appear in most biomes, or trees, which will take a bit longer. If you're in a desert, you can also find dried wood on the ground to punch. And lastly, all biomes have stones lying around on the ground. If you're in a forest biome, they can be a little bit tricky to spot, so if you want, you can punch one of the larger rocks a few times to get the 2 stones you'll need. Again, this will take a bit longer. The crafting menu is really simple, just type in a few letters of the item you want to make, click it and it will show you the materials you need, and if you have them you can just click craft. The next quest asks you to make plant fibre clothing. Clothing gives you protection against cold weather and also against damage if zombies attack you. For the following quest you simply need to wear the clothing you just made, but if you're in one of the hotter biomes, I suggest taking it off immediately afterwards, and then crafting a plant fibre hat to wear. As you can see from the menu, this keeps you cooler. Next you will need to make a club. The wooden club will be your go-to melee weapon for now, but hopefully you won't need to use it on your first day. Just keep it handy in case you need to give anyone a clobbering, and I'll talk about combat a bit later. Your next task is to craft a bow and some arrows. You already know how to gather wood, plant fibres and stones. To find feathers, you'll need to search bird nests, which can be found on the ground. The bow is a good strong weapon and it's a bit less risky than hand-to-hand combat. But I personally find it quite awkward to use, and you have to be very accurate to hit your target. It's up to you whether you want to do this quest now, or wait till you find somewhere to hide out, but we'll leave the quest system alone for now. Now that you've crafted the essential tools that you need, your next priority is going to be to find a place to spend the night. Before you run off anywhere, I suggest gathering a little bit more wood and stone, so you can meet replacement tools when they break, and for a few things you'll need to do later on. The game uses a harvest system, so you get a small amount of materials each time you hit something, and you also get a big payout for finishing the job. To avoid wasting too much time, find one of the smaller trees with 250 or 500 block health, and one of these size rocks rather than the huge boulders. Also grab at least another 20 plant fibres so you can make a bedroll later. Now you're ready to start exploring. By now, zombies will probably have begun to spawn. The good news is they move at an absolute snail's pace, and you don't have to fight them. In fact, I suggest not engaging in combat at all on your first day, because the time could be better spent getting situated. If you end up having to fight, always aim for the head, because that will do roughly 3 times more damage than hitting them anywhere else, and use the following technique. 1. Step towards zombie. 2. Swing club just before you reach them. 3. Make contact with head. 4. Sprint backwards away from zombie's attack. 5. If zombie falls over, hit it in the head until it dies. On to the exploring then. What you want to look for are buildings. You can loot them for items, and you can sit in them at night to hide from zombies and other such naughty things. The best way to find a building is to locate a road. If you're in the middle of nowhere, try looking around to see if you can spot any cars in the distance, or climb on top of a boulder to get a better view. If that doesn't work, just walk in any random direction and you'll come across one pretty soon. If you walk far enough down a road, you'll come across a town, which will have loads of buildings to loot, more on the types of buildings to look out for later, but also potentially more zombies as well. Alternatively, you can follow the dirt paths that branch off the roads, and these more often than not will lead to a single building all by itself. Problem: buildings nearly always spawn zombies around them. If you found a lone building, there may be 5 or less and you could just beat them up until they stop annoying you. However, if there are too many to deal with or you don't fancy risking a fight, there is a safer alternative. Walk up to them to grab their attention and linger around a bit to make sure you've got them all hunting you. Occasionally giving one of them a whack on the head will make noise to attract the others. Once you've got all of them following you, just casually walk away from the building. Check the stealth system, and once you're undetected, swing around to the side, making sure to keep your distance from the conga line of zombies you've just created. They'll keep walking in the direction they last saw you, and you can waltz right back over to the building and search it undisturbed. Once you've found a decent looking building to spend the night, you'll want to have a look for any potential weak points, like big gaping holes, or windows, as they can be smashed really easily. Use some of that spare wood that you gathered to make some wood frames, and use them to replace your big gaping hole or window. Then you can right click the wood frame with the stone axe to upgrade it, which will cost a bit more wood but also makes the block much stronger. Also, use your plant fibres to make a bedroll and place it down. If you do happen to die, you'll be able to respawn here, rather than a completely random place on the map. Once it reaches 10 o'clock, it's officially nighttime and the zombies become much faster. The good news is you don't have to let them know where you are. They'll hear you if you make noise by running or jumping around, hitting things or searching or looking in containers, but if you stay still and don't make noise, you won't have any problems. If you're still alive when you hear the beautiful morning music, then congratulations, you just survived your first night. By now it might be time to start thinking about the food and water, and some other things as well, but I'll probably make another tutorial video with some more in-depth information on how to get properly established. I just want to finish up by talking to you about some things to stay away from, and also some pointers on how to find a decent building to spend your first night in. Bears are a really important thing to stay away from. They're stronger than you, faster than you, and any kind of run-in with them early game is going to lead to a really quick death for you. Dogs are also stronger and faster than you, and are a lot harder to spot than bears, so keep an eye out for those. They also have a really high chance of causing the bleeding effect, which you can fix with your bandage if you manage to get away from them. Barns and other farm-like buildings have a really high chance of spawning dogs as well, so I'd advise staying away from those too. If you come across a city that looks like this, stay well away from it. They will have all manner of horrible things that I'm not even going to begin to describe. Just keep away from it, please. As for buildings, hopefully this goes without saying, but this is a really poor example of a house to spend your first night in. It's full of holes and broken blocks, it's not very strong, and there's only one floor to hide in. Buildings with 2 stories or more are your best bet, because even if the zombies get inside, they're usually too dumb to find the stairs to reach you. You could also block off the stairs with wood frames to reduce their chances even more. Buildings made of brick or concrete will be stronger than those made of wood. These 2- and 3-story brick buildings will make great hideouts. Shops are also a good option. Even though they only have 1 floor, they're made of pretty sturdy blocks, and they can have really useful items inside too. That's going to be it for now. Hopefully you found this helpful. If you did, don't forget to leave a like on it for me, and check out my channel for more content. Or if you're feeling lazy, click here for a tutorial on how to get established beyond day 1, or click here for a tutorial on survival strategies for the different biomes. Cheers!